Yo, what's good, guys? We are back at it again with another MLB The Show video for you guys, and today I am updating my best lineups, best team in the game video. I want to show you guys some of the lineups that you may want to be running if you want to win more games in the show, if you want to use more competitive cards, more competitive captain boost. We got a lot of new captain boosts today, and there's a lot of new options. It's always important to have options, but I'm going to show you what, in my opinion, are the best ones you can be running. So real quick before we get into it, if you are new, I would love it if you liked and subscribed to the channel. We're going to be doing this all year. I'm going to be showing you guys the best lineups that the best players are running all year. And without further ado, let's get into it. So first team, everybody's seen it. Everybody knows this team well. It is the Buxton team. So we can see in left, I'm picking Jason Dominguez. Real quick, I should mention, this is tiered for Hall of Fame. This is the Buxton team I'd be using if I was on Hall of Fame. Do I think it's necessarily the best? No, but I know there's some cards that people want to use and they're kind of, loyal to the Buxton team and they want to keep using it. I think it is a little dated on Hall of Fame. If you are on Hall of Fame and you feel really uncomfortable with the Buxton team, it might be time to swap. But in general, I think it still can be usable, and these are the cards I would use. If you're on All-Star, really all you gotta look for is a ton of power and speed. But on Hall of Fame, you kind of want some more stuff. You want some contact, you want some clutch. So I'm showing you that team. So Jason, yeah, the contacts are a little lower than you want. It's nice that his clutch is his highest attribute and obviously has some really good speed, and he's a switch hitter. Can't go wrong with that. You got Dylan Cruz. This card has been a staple. He's been in a ton of people's lineups. If you've been running the Buxton team, he's probably in your lineup. Even if you're not running the Buxton team, he might still be in your lineup. Still a very good, very usable card with a great swing. Right field, we got the new Cody B, for whom the bell tolls. Always a crazy good card. Great swing. You can see I used him a little bit in events earlier. Through 5 at-bats, he's hitting .833 with 3 home runs, or 6 at-bats. So still has that same swing, still has some really good quirks, and you can see his wheel here. He is the perfect Hall of Fame / All-Star player. Maybe that's a little low on Legend. Maybe if you want to take him into Legend, you're probably not running the Buxton boost if you are on Legend. But in general, that is exactly what you want for Hall of Fame All-Star. He looks great, and the fact he's getting 10 speed from the Buxton team makes him an all-arounder. First base, I kind of I have it as a flex position because you don't have to have everybody on your team make the Buxton team. You can see we're still 1 over, so if you don't have one of these cards or you have somebody else that you really want to work in, like for me, it would probably be shortstop, then I could do that, but I'm just showing you guys who I think the best options are. So Dansby, if you took this card, he's still very good, still a very viable option on the Buxton team. You can see really high contacts for somebody that makes the Buxton team. Most people that make it don't have high contacts, so Dansby's one of the few options, and you can see that his overall scale is very high with the Buxton team because he gets what he needs. He gets fielding, speed, and power, which are the things this card is lacking. So he is a great card for the Buxton team. Shortstop, can't go wrong with Mondesi. Contacts are right about where you want to be on All-Star Hall of Fame. The clutch is the problem. So if you're using Mondesi, you're going to have to structure the lineup to where he's either like lead off or like in a lower position where hopefully there's not runners on base, or it doesn't really matter if there are. Other than him, like, you got great guys like Oneil Cruz. Oneil Cruz is a great option on this team. He's just very expensive, and it's a lefty bat, and you know how I feel about having lefties. Third base, we have Trevor Story. Obviously, he could move to short, he could move to second. This is a beautiful card. He's awesome. The fact that his clutch is high serves to kind of offset that contact. And then the fact he absolutely mashes against lefties is going to help a ton when you're facing like Randy, John, which, let's be honest, you're facing them a ton. DH, we have Buxton himself, just because the speed's there, but the reaction isn't. The reaction is basically worse than all of these guys, because you're seeing him without the 5 reaction decrease. If you played him in like left field, he'd go down 67. So I'd probably rather have Jason in the outfield for the reaction. But you could definitely run him in the outfield and then find somebody else to DH if you don't like Jason or don't like Bellinger, or you want to run Belly at first. There's options. You can definitely move it around. And then at catcher, it's Piazza. The clutch is a little bit low, but in general, the contact's great and the power's great. A lot of people really enjoy his swing. Always has a lot of good hitting quirks, so not a bad card either. And then bench options, I'm not really using these as bench options. They're just other guys where if you plugged them in, I wouldn't scoff at it. I don't think they're bad. Willie Castro, this is the like quintessential Hall of Fame Buxton player, basically. If you're on Hall of Fame and you can work him in the lineup, I would do it because he's 108, 123, 88, 85, and I can still add a parallel to him. A lot of people have a lot of parallels since he was a BR card, and then he's super fast and he can field a ton of positions. If you stick him in the outfield, he'll probably be pretty decent. If you put him at any infield position, he'll be pretty decent. So not a bad card there. King Vaughn, Greg Vaughn, he looks super good on the Buxton team, honestly. Insane power. The fielding is a little questionable, not the fastest, more of like a DH, but if you want to play him in the field, he can work, especially as long as you are leaving him in left field, which is his primary. This card is really good. And it's actually, okay, yeah, it is showing up updated stats. Lawrence Butler, this is one of the best pinch hitters in the game, 112, 123. And it doesn't matter if there's a runner on base because he has 117 clutch, so that's super good for him. Not the greatest swing in the world, but it doesn't really matter when you have stats like that. And then Emmanuel Rodriguez, I'm pretty partial to this card. I think he has one of the better lefty swings in the game. He is absolutely nasty, and if you wanted to run him over any of these current outfielders I have out there, I would not be mad at you. And then starting rotation, if you're using the Buxton team, I'm assuming you're on All-Star or Hall of Fame. You need guys with outlier. You are not going to get strikeouts without guys without outlier. On those lower difficulties, you need those insane speed differentials. You need a guy like Randy, like John. Really, you need John. Like, you have to be able to separate your pitches by like 22, 24 miles an hour in this game to get strikeouts, just the way the game plays. So a guy like John, super good. But other than that, you just need guys with outlier to kind of blow your opponent back, make them stay honest on that so your off speed can actually work and doesn't just get fouled off 100 times. So if you want to, instead of Skeens, run like the new Jackson Jobe, that would probably be better considering Skeens outlier is kind of bugged. And then Ohtani I have here just because his hits and his clutch are super high, so he's not bad. Bullpen, you know, pretty standard bullpen. This is basically what I think the best bullpen in the game looks like. It's not anything insane. Maeda's just here because he's a long reliever. I don't think what he throws is especially good. I don't think his mix is crazy great, but it's hard to find a good long reliever in the game. Most pitchers have 25 stamina. It's just the way it is. Jorge Lopez, really good. Kendall Graveman is all right. I think he's a little overrated. Franco is okay as a lefty. If you want to argue, you know, you would rather have Tyler J or Matzik or Rogers, one of these other lefty specialists, I will not argue with you. Idavino, obviously very good. Daniel Bard, very good. Bummer, very good. Raleigh Fingers, one of the better relievers in the game right now. And that's what I would be running if I was running the Buxton lineup. So we will swap over to the Arenado team real quick, and I will show you guys that team. I will also show you how you can go about swapping those teams, because I still get this question. They have to be completely out of your lineup, and then you come to exchange players, put your captain in. You can see it doesn't matter if you collect them, it already says no sell. Then we go to our pack, keeps all the parallels, keeps everything the exact same, and you can see we have Arenado just like that. So we can just plug and play and go ahead and swap the lineup over, and I can show you guys what I would be running if I was running the Arenado team. So you can see we have the max tier Arenado team active right now. I don't know if you want to do this. If you want to do this, I tried to make it as viable as possible, but it's still going to be rough. So in left field, JD Davis, his bat is crazy. The clutch is a little low, but he has a great swing, and the bat itself is pretty wild. Center field, I have Hap here, but I would not run Hap. I would either run like the new Nico Goodrum, or I would run Mike Cameron, or somebody like that. Prior to this, I would have ran Mike Trout, but I don't think he's super viable anymore. So I would probably run one of those newer cards in center field. Right field, I think it's Babe or any other flex spot that you want. If you want to make this Castellanos, I would not blame you. There's a lot of lefties on this team. If you do not hit well lefty-lefty, you're going to have to change some of your options on this team, and you're going to need to have some guys that bash lefties to kind of make up for the fact that you're going to be hitting at a disadvantage every time you face a guy like Randy, Leiter, anybody like that. So First base, the new David Ortiz looks exceptional on this team. You can see 125 clutch, 125 contact right, 96 left, 110 right, 90 left. So this is basically Corey Seager at first base, stats-wise. And then you have some other very good options to boot. Palmeiro, if you did the Live Series AL collection, is very good. And then, you know, everybody's favorite, Jose Abreu, is still very good. Mitch Garver has it as a secondary. Yasmani Grandal, I've seen some very good players still use Yasmani Grandal up until Legend on the full Arenado boost, so that would be possible if you really enjoy his swing. And then Justin Turner, again, always reliable, same as the Arenado team kind of has been for a little bit. Second base, right now it's Nolan Gorman. Obviously, he's only supercharged for another day as of me recording this. So obviously, right now it's Nolan Gorman, subject to change. Maybe you would want to move Corey Seager over. Maybe you would want to find one of these other guys, or maybe you just play Justin Turner here because he can also play this position. Would not blame me for it. Shortstop, you got Brandon Crawford, not a bad player. Yeah, Justin Turner, again, you're a little bit of a psychopath if you run this Turner there just because the fielding is so bad. Also, you have Manny Machado. Maybe if he got a new card, you would be able to run him. And then at third base, this is kind of the crutch of the team, right? You saw that middle infield was very limited. There was not a ton of great options that made the Arenado team. And then at third base, you have to run Arenado, where Buxton is good on All-Star and semi-usable on Hall of Fame. Arenado is really tough to use on Legend. You see how these top 50 guys, they bat really good with them because they're freaks. They're robots. They hit everything no matter who's up there. The more stats they have definitely help them, but in general, they're very good players anyway. You can see this wheel. His clutch is probably lower than you want, and the power right's pretty low, and the contact left is abysmal. It's really bad. So if you can structure your lineup to where he almost always has a runner on base or where he's mainly hitting against righties, then it can work for you. But I can tell you personally, that it sucks using that small of a PCI when you're using him on Legend against lefties, and then he gets scammed with that 81 power. It's more or less right where you want to be. It almost guarantees that your perfect fly balls are like home runs, but it still sucks because you're not going to get a lot of goods. You're not going to get a lot of earlies. You're going to have to be very accurate. And I think Nolan is kind of what sinks this team, especially running the full tier of it. Jordan, obviously, very good as a DH still. You can see he is incredibly well balanced after the update. And obviously the 96, 97 overall chase card Jordan also makes this. And he's probably the best hitter in the game. With the full Nolan boost, he's got to be the best hitter in the game. No doubt, no conversation about it. Not even up for debate. Catcher, look at Piazza. You're not going to find statistically a better catcher than Piazza. Max clutch, basically max contact, awesome power, pretty good swing this year. It's not elite, but it's very good. Like, it's definitely usable. And then he has like every hitting quirk because he's a legend. Yeah, so he's very good at catcher. The new Paul Konerko looks very good. Basically another White Sox first baseman that makes the Arenado boost. If you don't like the way Abreu's been playing for you, Konerko's here for you. Haven't seen his swing, but he does have some insane quirks, so I would not be surprised if he plays very well. Joe Torre, great option for third if you want to pull Arenado. Great option for first if you don't like any other first baseman. It's a great option for catcher. If you want to platoon a catcher or something like that, he's not a bad option, although I don't know why you would. Because instead of platooning a catcher, I would either run like Piazza full-time or I would run Keibert Ruiz full-time. Look at this card. He's very good. The contact left is a little low, but everything else is more or less right where you want it to be. If you're somebody that's really turned off by Piazza's poor defense, Ruiz has you covered completely. He also has a really good clutch, and he's a switch hitter, so he's always going to hit from the most advantage side. Mancini, I picked this card. I assume a lot of people aren't going to have this card. He's very good. I wouldn't say he's like elite, but he is very good. He's probably a little dated on the Nolan team at this point. Other than him, you got Mitch Garver. You can see his wheel right here. Looks very good. Joe Mauer looks very good. You can full-time Joe Mauer if you want. I think he's probably still best as a platoon catcher. Aaron Judge, Not terrible, gets a little bit worse after the update. I believe his clutch got lowered, his contact left definitely got lowered. So not quite as viable. Gary still very good as a platoon, although kind of weird to platoon a guy that hits the same handed as well. And then Jose Abreu, right? So you can see these two side by side, very similar. Abreu probably higher average contact. Konerko's got better clutch and probably will have better power just because of the quirks. So I'd probably run Konerko, but if you were really attached to Abreu, I can't blame you. Rotation wise, this is just what I believe to be more or less the best rotation in the game. Obviously, you can throw a guy like Pettit in there because people are starting to get him. You can throw a guy like Leiter in there. At this point, it's really personal preference and kind of mixing stuff around. But in general, this is the rotation I'm running in ranked when I'm playing. And then this is the bullpen I'm running in ranked when I'm playing. So this is more so scaled to legend. I probably wouldn't use a guy like Evan Phillips on Hall of Fame. I probably wouldn't use a guy like Tyler J on Hall of Fame. Those are more legend guys. If you wanted more so like Hall of Fame guys, I'd probably be looking for like maybe Maeda, maybe John Franco, a guy like Ottavino, obviously very good. Rizal is not bad anymore. You know, Taylor Rogers, not bad. Melanson, not bad. The usual suspects, not too much has changed relief pitcher wise. And then we have the new best team in the game. So this is the switch hitting team. One of the new captains we just got, this Carlos Santana. So we're going to take a little tour around the diamond. Jason Dominguez made the Buxton team. He makes this team. I think he looks insane. He has a very good swing. This card has tore me up. If I make like a demons of the season type of list, best of the season, he's my demon. He is my Francisco Lindor from this year. This card has been tearing me up recently whenever I play him. So without a doubt, I think he's one of the outfielders you're starting on this team. Nico Goodrum, you can't see his wheel, but he's getting 12 contact right and 10 clutch. So you can see he's going to be at 104 contact right and 102 clutch, and he has these ridiculous stats. So the power left is a little low, but I mean, other than that, this is like a perfect card. This is the best center fielder on the switch hitting team, without a doubt. In right field, Ian Happ. This card is incredible. You can see he's batting .476 with 22 home runs for me. You know, some event games, some ranked games, and he's just got even better. His clutch goes up 10. His contact right goes up even more. His contact left gets in a very nice spot. And he's already, you know, has insane power, right? You can see this card batted .421 against lefties for me. You also have to kind of quantify, like, what lefties he's seeing, right? He's not seeing Noah Schultz every game. He's seeing Randy, he's seeing John, he's seeing Aaron Bummer. Those are the majority of his lefty at-bats. So this card, to hit like that before he had 10 extra contact, is insane. Right about where you want with power, similar to how I said with Arenado. You want about 80-ish for the most part, bare minimum. He has that. He's phenomenal. So we use a flex spot on first base here with Babe. Babe's crazy. Gotta have Babe in the lineup. If you have Babe, you gotta play him. Maybe if you're really paranoid of hitting lefty-lefty against some of those top-end lefties, maybe you would run like a Castellanos here or somebody like that. Maybe we get like a Frank Thomas soon or something like that. You could definitely run them at first to be lefty killers, because this lineup is slightly deficient against lefties. Like the stats of this lineup aren't necessarily as good as like the stats of the Nolan lineup, especially when it comes to lefties. But just having that handedness advantage every single batter is going to be massive. You can never underestimate the value of a switch hitter. And then you have the new Mookie Betts. He's been updated. You can see 98 overall with inside edge and super factored. 110 clutch, one of the higher base clutches of any card in the game. Awesome contact numbers, great power numbers, and obviously we know what his swing looks like. We know that he has like every hitting quirk in the game. This card was already crazy. This is even crazier. Like, he's wild. He's so good now. Shortstop, I just got Jimmy Rollins. Just got him. Been grinding all day. Ran through most of that mini season to get him. 123 clutch, basically maxed out contacts, 90-ish power, which is high for a Rollins. Obviously, he's incredibly fast, and he's going to play more or less great defense at shortstop. It kind of sucks. Like, he's a midget, right? He's not very tall. I guess he's slightly above average height. But like when you compare him to a guy like Ellie or O'Neal Cruz, he's not gonna get those freak like super dive animations. So you're gonna be very dependent on the diamond fielding and the reaction, but he'll be fine. He should still be a plus defender at shortstop, especially in comparison to everybody else in the game right now. Third base, the Candyman. Who else? You can see very good contacts, more or less right about where you want for Hall of Fame legend contact wise. And then very good power. And then the fact that clutch is his highest attribute is awesome. You want your hitters to be at the best when there's runners on base. The fact that clutch is his highest attribute, very nice. DH, I'm running Josh Bell. This is kind of personal preference. You can see I have some guys on the bench where if you wanted to run them instead, I would not be mad at you. Mickey Mantle, back in a very viable position. The power lefty is a little scary, but his quirks are crazy. Like Mickey always kind of plays above his numbers, and the fact that this card is going to be viable again is huge for some people. Polanco, very usable. Again, power left, little lower than you'd want, but the fact that you have a handedness advantage and you have a great swing kind of offsets that. Keibert Ruiz makes this team as well. Not quite as good as he is on the Nolan team, but still a very good, very viable option. And then Mondesi's here too. You can see his contact numbers are actually in a really good spot on this team, but the clutch is still bad. So objectively, you can't really fix the clutch. Other than that, you have Chili Davis. Obviously, he's still going to struggle mightily against lefties, even with the contact boost. Bernie Williams, and then the only other guy I'd probably think about is Willie Castro, but I think his power numbers are a little bit low at this point. And then this is basically the exact same rotation and bullpen, but you need to know that Kenley Jansen makes this team. Would I ever use this card? No, because he tips his pitches, but he makes the team. So basically you're sacrificing a bullpen slot for the ability to use some of these like free card slots like Mookie and Babe. So if you like Polanco or somebody, that's cool. That frees up a bullpen slot for you. And then Ottavino is also a switch hitter, and he's also very good. And the team boost gives 10 walks per 9, which is huge for a guy like Ottavino, where that was one of the main stats he was missing. So this is the best team in the game. You can make the argument that the full tier Nolan team is still better, just because if you're a top 50 player and it doesn't matter that you're hitting lefty against Randy Johnson, then cool. But that's not most people. Most people do not want to hit from the same handedness. It's weird. It doesn't feel comfortable. On average, I'd say most players hit 20 to 40 points higher with switch hitters than everybody else in their lineup. And that's on average. You're going to have outliers that hit 80, 100 points higher with switch hitters because handedness is that big to them. And something else to mention is you can see in the top left, we have 4 wild card slots. This team may not be the best team for every moment of this year, but it's going to have its phases where it comes back every season, because you'll just wild card Santana, you'll wild card, it's hard to say, right? Because when I go and look at switch hitters for you guys and show you who all has not gotten a card so far, it's going to boggle your mind how good this captain's going to be. Because, it was a meme last year we memed about. We're like, well, imagine if they did the switch hitter team. And everybody's like, yeah, right, dude. Like, they'd ever do that. Here we are. Here we are. And, of course, a lot of the better cards in the game make it. So, you got Rollins, who this will probably be one of his better cards all year, if not his best. You got Nico Goodrum. This will definitely be the best Nico Goodrum. Cal Raleigh. This card's usable on the team. You look at the contact and you don't like that, but you look at the clutch, he's crazy good. So any Cal Raleigh card for the rest of the year will make this team. If Ellie actually gets a good card, that is the in-game shortstop on this team. If this Ellie card had 90 power left and 84 clutch, he'd probably be the best shortstop in the game on this team, without a doubt. Who else? There's so many people that have not got a good card that are like Mickey will get like a 97 plus overall card at some point. It may not be this season, but he will get one at some point and he will qualify for this boost. Oswaldo Cabrera could get more cards in the future. Bernie Williams, right? This was a marquee legend that they marketed It was one of their bigger additions. They're going to give him a 95 plus at some point this year. Guaranteed. He will make this team. Jonah Heim, he usually gets a card. It's usually not the best card in the world, but this team's going to help it. Yasmani usually gets some very good cards. Polanco may get a good card. This guy's going to get a good card at some point this year. He usually gets multiple. He will get a good card at some point. Lindor is going to be a problem on this team. Adley will get a good card at some point. They gave him 2 God Squad cards last year. Look for him to get some more this year. Chipper Jones, when Chipper actually gets a good card, you can argue this card's not bad on this team. If you are somebody who struggles mightily on Hall of Fame, or you're doing Legend and you don't feel comfortable, this card will still hit perfect home runs for you. And the fact that you can walk up there with almost max clutch, almost max contact, with like every hitting quirk in the game and a great swing, that's insane value there. Ozzy Albies usually gets a card throughout the year. Ketel Marte usually gets a card throughout the year, if not multiple. Jose Ramirez, this was probably the best card in the game last year. He's going to get a card again. He will qualify for this boost. Robin Roberts, even if he gets a 90 overall, will just slot into your rotation just to contribute to this boost. Jorge Posada, I am a firm believer that this Posada card will be the best catcher in the game when he comes out. When Posada gets a better card this year, his swing is way too good not to be. If he even got like the one card he got last year, that BR reward, if he gets that card again and you can add 12 contact to each side and 10 clutch, that's the best catcher in the game, especially with the way Perfects play. Who else? Brian Reynolds. If Brian Reynolds at any point gets a crazy card this year, you can make the argument that this Cal Raleigh on the team right now is crazy. Tim Raines will make this team. Santander, if he ever gets a card, will make this team. Just absolutely insane names. Lance Lynn will contribute to the boost. I'm not going to say he's going to get a lot better because of it, but if he ever gets a remotely decent card, he'll be great. And then I don't want to, go through all of these. Ronnie Mauricio, if he gets like a Future Stars card that's like gas, he might be really good. But just know, this team is far from over. This is probably the weakest spot it will ever be. This team is going to remain relevant for the entire year. If you do not have a Carlos Santana in your inventory, I don't know what you're doing. Even if you're not running the captain boost, there is a very realistic chance that this Santana could end up going for 100, 200, 300K later in the season. I'm not saying to invest in it because who knows what SDS will do. They might hand out one of these captain packs for free. They might throw them in flash sales or something. But it cannot hurt to have these cards because they will always go for pretty much a minimum of 40K. So go get a Santana, go get an Ortiz, go get a Hoffman if you can, because you don't know how those teams are going to evolve. You don't know which teams they are going to keep people off of. You don't know which teams they're going to add people to. So that's it, guys. Those are the best lineups in the game, in my opinions. If you want to run some like David Ortiz teams or something, or Kershaw, you can, but there's big flaws with those teams. These are all around strong, and if you're running these teams, I think you're running one of the best teams in the game. So till next time, guys, peace.